இந்து தமிழ் நாளிதழ் மற்றும் அமிர்தா விஸ்வ வித்யாபீடம் இணைந்து வழங்கும் உயர்வுக்கு உயர்கல்வி நிகழ்ச்சிக்கு உங்கள் அனைவரையும் அன்புடன் வரவேற்கிறேன். இன்று இந்த காலகட்டம் இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் 4.0 அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க இல்லையா? ஏன்னா இதுல மிக முன்னணியில் இருக்கக்கூடிய துறைகள் என்னன்னு பார்க்கும் பொழுது ஏற்கனவே நாங்கள் ஆர்டிபிஷியல் இன்டெலிஜென்ஸ் பத்தி பேசினோம், டேட்டா சயின்ஸ் பத்தி பேசணும். இன்று பார்த்தோமானால் இன்று எம்பெடட் சிஸ்டம்ஸ் மற்றும் இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் ஆகிய துறைகளை உங்களுக்கு துறையில் வல்லுநர்களானோர் நிபுணர்கள் அறிமுகப்படுத்தி இருக்கிறார்கள். எம்பெடட் சிஸ்டம்ஸ் மற்றும் இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் பத்தி பேசும்பொழுது சில ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னால் கூகுள் மற்றும் ஆல்பபெட் நிறுவனத்தின் முன்னாள் எக்ஸிகியூட்டிவ் சேர்மன் ஆக இருந்த எரிக் ஷ்மிட்ஸ் சொன்ன ஒரு கூற்று இங்க நினைவுக்கு வருது. அவர் என்ன சொன்னார்னா, சில ஆண்டுகள் கழித்து இன்டர்நெட் என்பதே இருக்காது, அதற்கு பதில் இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் இருக்கும். அது எப்படி இருக்கும்னு பார்த்தோம்னா, அது தனியாக ஒரு பொருளாக நம்ம இப்படி உட்காந்து சிஸ்டம் முன்னாடி உட்காந்து இல்லை மொபைல கனெக்ட் பண்ணி அப்படிதான் இருக்காது. நம்ம பயன்படுத்தக்கூடிய எல்லா டிவைசஸ்லயும் சென்சார்ஸ் இருக்கும். அப்புறம் நம்ம பயன்படுத்தக்கூடிய அத்தனை பொருட்கள், அது நம்ம ஆடையாக அணிந்து கொண்டு இருப்பதாக இருக்கலாம், இல்லை ஒரு வாட்சா இருக்கலாம், இல்லை ஒரு நம்ம போடக்கூடிய ஷூஸா இருக்கலாம், பெல்ட்டா இருக்கலாம், இல்லை நம்ம வீட்டில் இருக்கக்கூடிய சுற்றி இருக்க பொருட்களாக இருக்கலாம், ஃப்ரிட்ஜ், வாஷிங் மிஷின், அது எதுவாக வேணா இருக்கலாம். இது எல்லாத்துக்குள்ளுமே இது எம்பெடடா வந்துடும், இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸுக்கு நோக்கி நகர்ந்துரும் அப்படின்னு சொன்னாங்க. இது நம்ம சுருக்கமா இதை எப்படி புரிஞ்சுக்கலாம்னா, இப்ப நம்ம வீட்டை விட்டு வெளியில கிளம்புறோம்னா என்ன பண்ணுவோம்? முதல்ல வீட்டுல இருக்கக்கூடிய லைட்ஸ் அண்ட் ஃபேன், ஏசி எல்லாத்தையும் ஆஃப் பண்ணுவோம். கரெக்டா சாவி எடுத்து வீட்டை பூட்டுவோம். அப்புறம் நம்ம வண்டி, அது காரா இருக்கலாம், பைக்கா இருக்கலாம், அதை எடுத்து ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவோம். நமக்கு இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ் வந்துடும் போது நீங்க எதையுமே நீங்க மேனுவலா செய்ய தேவையில்லை. இது எல்லாமே ஒன்னோட ஒண்ணு, ஒவ்வொரு இயந்திரமும் இன்னோட இன்டர் கனெக்ட் பண்ணி அதுவே இந்த விஷயங்களை செய்து கொள்ளும். இது மாதிரி டெக்னாலஜி நோக்கி நம்ம நகர்ந்துகிட்டு இருக்கோம் அப்படின்றத சில ஆண்டுகளுக்கு முன்னாடியே அவர் கணித்தார். நம்ம இப்ப அந்த கட்டத்துக்கு வந்திருக்கோம். அதை உங்களுக்கு இன்னைக்கு எப்படி அந்த துறையின் முக்கியத்துவம் என்ன, அந்த துறையுடைய அறிமுகத்தை கொடுக்கதான் இன்று நம்மளுடைய துறைசார் வல்லுநர்கள் இருக்கிறார்கள். திரு ஸ்ரீனிவாஸ் பிரசாத் அவர்கள். இவர் பெங்களூரை சேர்ந்த அனலாக் டிவைசஸ் இந்தியா நிறுவனத்தின் சாஃப்ட்வேர் மற்றும் சிஸ்டம்ஸ் பிரிவின் சீனியர் டைரக்டர் அப்படின்றது ஏற்கனவே சொல்லியிருக்கோம். ஸோ இவர் சாஃப்ட்வேர் எம்பெடட் சிஸ்டம்ஸ் பிரிவில் 25 ஆண்டுகள் அனுபவம் மிக்கவர். அனலாக் டிவைசஸ் இந்தியா நிறுவனத்தில் பொறுப்பேற்பதற்கு முன்பாக செமிகண்டக்டர் பிளாட்ஃபார்ம்ஸ் பிசினஸ் குரூப்ஸ் உடைய வைஸ் பிரசிடென்ட் அவர் இருந்திருக்காரு. இதை தவிர அவருக்கு கன்சியூமர், ஆட்டோமோட்டிவ், இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல், சேட்டலைட் வெர்டிகல்ஸ் ஆகிய பிரிவுகளில் தலைமை பொறுப்புகளை வகித்திருக்கிறார். இப்ப நமக்கு எல்லாமே செல்போன் தான் தெரியும். இவர் சேட்டலைட் போன் வடிவமைப்புல மிக முக்கியமான பங்காற்றுவர். ஸோ இவர்கிட்ட இருந்தும் நமக்கு தெரிஞ்சுக்க வேண்டியது நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இருக்கு. திரு ஸ்ரீனிவாஸ் பிரசாத் will deliver his lecture now.
Thank you. So எல்லாருக்கும் good evening. Hope you and your families are staying well. My sincere appreciation for inviting me for this program. The Hindu team, Amrita team, co-guest Dr. Manikantan, Mr. Lakshmanan gave a fantastic talk. Parents who are viewing this and the aspiring and energetic students, it is my pleasure to be here. So I think Mr. Lakshmanan shared a lot of insights about IoT, embedded systems and IoT and what are the subcomponents. I think now that you're all out of your 12th grade and exploring your future, one question that will come to your mind is that if I choose the path of doing engineering in embedded systems and IoT, is there a job opportunity for me? Is there a career opportunity? Can I do something on my own? What are the chances that my career will scale? So one thing that I can tell you is that you can be rest assured that the embedded systems and IoT is probably one of the most sophisticated and emerging markets. And it has been a growing market for several decades now. I think people who have kind of done their engineering in electronics, computer science, electrical, I think they have kind of reached places running big corporations which are specialized in the embedded systems and IoT. So What in a nutshell is an embedded system? It's a combination of hardware, software, and then it is designed for a specific function. Like it could be for a vertical, it could be for an application, it could be for a platform, it could be for a specific purpose. This can also be integrated into larger systems when you're building big industrial platforms, smart buildings, smart industries. The embedded systems play a very critical role, and then they get integrated seamlessly into the overall platform of the large play that these companies do. You can have a very focused, fixed functionality embedded system, or you can also actually build embedded systems that can be programmed based on the need of the market. In the industries will use embedded systems. If you see, I think semiconductor market is the one that actually converts the analog world, and then it actually changes the whole thing into a digital environment. The data originates in the semiconductor industry, right? Whatever you see which is in a physical form, in an analog form, the moment there is an interface to the embedded systems, it actually takes the shape of a digital parameter. And from that, what happens is that people take and then build various applications, various platforms, and then it becomes huge systems by themselves serving the purpose that is meant for. It could be in the area of aviation, it could be household appliances, it could be your refrigerators, it could be your mixie, vending machines, toys, medical equipments, automobiles, anything, even agricultural systems. Everything has a very, very strong element of embedded systems and IoT playing a role that is in the back end. And we don't see what is happening. You just turn on the switch and think that it is working. But at the back end, there are so many embedded systems that are actually doing their job. I can compare to where we are, I think in the 70s, we are now living in a world that is becoming more and more connected. It's more and more digital. That has happened because of the advancement of electronics, advancement of software. That is actually making the whole connection seamless. Also, the definition of embedded systems has changed. For 70s, like, what is the definition of an embedded system, Anna? People would say, I have some microcontrollers, an 8-bit controller, a 16-bit controller at maximum. Then it evolved to be a very sophisticated embedded operating system. But today, a lot of these embedded systems are based on AI and deep learning, right? So depending on whom you ask, the definition of embedded systems change. Within the embedded systems, if you see, there are a lot of subdomains, a lot of sections in the embedded system segment. And as I said earlier, the embedded world is an integration of hardware and software. And why is it needed? It is needed to solve complex problems which were earlier done manually. I think Mr. Lakshmanan gave a classic example of how the human technology has evolved, changing things that were doing manually, now using technologies across segments. Today, it is very hard to imagine a world or a segment which doesn't have an embedded portfolio. Now, the question is that, okay, this is fine, but 5 years from now, when you all complete your graduation, appo eppadi irukkum market? Appo enna, is there an opportunity? I think I think there will be a huge plethora of opportunity, especially in the context of connected world. 5 to 10 years from now, you would see the world where almost every product, every platform will have the ability to connect, will have the ability to communicate with the rest of the digital ecosystem. Today's embedded systems are built to solve complex problems that are related to satellite communication, aviation, industrial, smart homes, smart cars, smart traffic management systems, and everything. Now, in embedded, you could either choose to go into the embedded software area, or you can also choose to get into chip design capability, because chip design is a key element in embedded systems. If you see the Madri companies, what kind of companies hire people? I think you can look around. In India, almost every multinational has their R&D presence. Mr. Lakshmanan represents TI. I represent Analog Devices. There is Xilinx. You name a company, which is a multinational company, it has its presence in India. The skills could be analog, digital, FPGA, EDA, ASIC, firmware, drivers. I think it's vast. It's not just semiconductor companies. The skill of embedded systems and IoT is needed for every company across every segment. You can talk to an automotive company, they would have huge demand for embedded engineers and IoT engineers. You talk to an industrial company, they will be hiring significant amount of people in the embedded things. Now you're all connected, right? You're all watching YouTube and Facebook. You can just go to Naukri and then Google the job opportunities for embedded. You'll be surprised that there will be some 15,000 to 16,000 job opportunities just in one job platform. Now imagine the kind of opportunities that are there across so many platforms that are hiring people, hiring talent. So, what does it take for me to become employable? Or what does it take for me to start something on my own? I think what is important is first need to have clarity on what is my career aspiration in building, what I want to do in embedded systems. I don't need to go deep dive from day one. I think an engineering background, it could be in electrical, it could be in electronics, IT, computer science, that will help us to equip to a great extent. More than that, it is also good to understand and then apply. Maybe there are so many courses that are free in the market today. You go to Udemy, you go to LinkedIn, you go to Coursera. Everyone is giving you free courses on embedded systems and IoT. I strongly encourage that you kind of take advantage of these platforms, which was not there 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and try to actually understand and then build some things. It could be taking a Raspberry Pi and then building something, taking an Arduino board, taking an embed platform. Once you start experimenting, building a small robotics kit, building something which is a home product, home platform, home application, playing with your kind of counterpart products, interfacing with your counterpart products, that can be a very very good way of learning apart from getting the engineering degree. I think it's very important to have a mindset to learn things by experiment, because you can't buy heart embedded systems, because more and more there are new things that are coming, new platforms are emerging, new languages are emerging, new technologies are emerging. What was done using C is getting done in Python. 5 years from now there'll be something else. So our ability to actually learn things by experimenting is very important, because when you learn by experimenting, you don't forget. You remember it because you understood how things failed, what was the workaround, how did you fix the problem, என்னென்ன challenges வந்தது. I think all those things will actually make you learn and then make you very, very knowledgeable in that field. Getting to know about microcontrollers, microprocessors, communication protocols, all this is a part of the embedded world. And when you put a platform together, knowingly or unknowingly, you will come across experiencing, trying to understand how those things work, and then that way you will enhance your knowledge. Now, okay, I learned these courses, I enrolled in a good college. Is there a career potential for me in embedded systems? I think Mr. Lakshmanan said it's a more than 100 billion plus dollar market, embedded systems. In embedded systems, embedded software is about 15 to 20 billion dollar market. So depending upon what you choose and the way IoT systems are growing, the way IoT applications are evolving, there is a very very high chance that the knowledge that you get during your engineering will actually give you a very good career potential. It could be in startups, it could be in product engineering services companies, it could be in multinationals, it could be even doing your own startup. Nowadays, there are so many colleges which also help in incubating, where if you have the aspiration to do something on your own, oh, I don't want to work, but I want to be an entrepreneur. Is there an opportunity for me in embedded systems and IoT? Definitely, because I think you have to start understanding what are the use cases, what are the common problems that a market is facing, a vertical is facing, a common consumer is facing, and then you can actually come up with some things that solves a technology problem. If you have a solution that solves a technology problem, there will be potential market opportunities. Now, take a classic example. I think in the last 18 months, people, most of the people have not moved out of their home due to the unfortunate COVID situation. But the whole industry, if you see the IT industry, the hospitality industry, the hospital management system, the communications, everything is working seamlessly. The impacts of COVID 19 actually has accelerated demand for embedded systems and IoT, especially for patient monitoring, monitoring safe distancing, vaccination administration tracking, variety of cases where I think the technology, the ability to stay connected, the ability to work from home, I think that has made a significant change. How was work from home possible? It is one use case of an IoT where you are able to actually do everything, having the board next to you, having your laptop, getting connected to the cloud, doing whatever you did, and then kind of uploading everything on the cloud, working seamlessly across geographically distributed teams. So there is market opportunity. Embedded systems and IoT is a growing field. It's evolving. It is still a very, very untapped market. So that way, when you graduate 4 years from now, the market will be a much more connected market. More and more IoT devices, more and more embedded devices will be supporting our daily routines. Now, what are the other hardware platforms that I need to choose? I think building skills in FPGA, which is known as the field programmable gate array, is a very other interesting area. Lot of potential opportunities, job opportunities, ability to put things on an FPGA has a lot of value. So that is another area that you may want to think if you're considering a career in embedded systems. Which are the companies that can be a potential for me? I would say that when you when you choose a college, choose a college that has very good credentials in embedded systems, because embedded systems is still not a specialized thing in engineering, right? You still call it as electronics and communication, electrical, computer science, information technology. There is nothing known as engineering in embedded systems. So I think your ability to choose one of this field where these universities or colleges give you an opportunity to do internship with companies, that can be a very, very interesting opportunity, because before you hit the job market, you already have an exposure as an intern for 6 months or 1 year. Most of the multinationals, most of the product engineering services companies take people for internship. And what they see in people is, what was your project? What did you learn? What are the failures that you over kind of came across? How did you overcome that? I think those things become very important for you to get into internship. And once you get into internship, if you are doing a good job in terms of learning, asking the right questions, taking initiatives, you stand a very good chance of getting converted as an employee, because the companies have invested in you for 6 months or 1 year. You have invested your time. The university has invested time in kind of building that gap between the industry and yourself. So it will be a win-win model to leverage the internship, choose projects that will actually make your career in the line of what you want to kind of achieve, what you want to learn. How do you kind of put into execution what you learned in engineering? So it's a very, very exciting field. You can kind of become an embedded software engineer, a system software engineer, an application software engineer, a software test engineer, embedded hardware engineer. All these opportunities exist when you kind of complete your course in engineering. There are a lot of companies who are looking for deep talent. I think IoT is making dumb devices smarter, and then you will play a critical role in making those devices smarter. Apart from the learnability aspects, I talked about taking courses beyond your engineering curriculum. We talked about building some kits, experimenting, learning. We talked about taking internship. We talked about trying to keep a look on what new things are coming in the market, what are the new things that are emerging. So that way, I think there are more opportunities. According to some estimates, 55% of the data that will be originated in the world will be because of IoT in 2025. Just imagine every second information that will be there in the world 5 years from now, it will be because an IoT device communicated to the cloud, and then you were able to actually get that data because there was something that originated the data in the context of an embedded system or an IoT device. And a lot of these AI tasks will happen on the edge devices. 43% of the edge devices will be AI compatible in 5 to 10 years from now. So that way, there's a beautiful opportunity. You look at LinkedIn, you look at Naukri, you look at any job portal today, embedded systems and IoT is a very, very hot field. So to sum up, embedded systems are essential to modern society. You are not at any risk if you venture out a career in this segment. Without embedded systems and IoT, our world would look tremendously different than what it is today. What is important is for you to understand how embedded systems work and what kind of applications will be used, which will make you better equipped to understand the world around you. Finally, I think to be successful in your career, now you chose a degree, you are about building a career for yourself 4 years from now. I think degree is just one step. Your degree alone will not make a difference in the long run. In the long run, what is more important is your personality, your humility, and a mindset to be a continuous learner all your life. Because technology is changing, technology is evolving. If you think that, okay, I've done my engineering, I've got a job, 4 years from now, I think I've got into a good college today. No, that's just a beginning. And then you have to learn continuously on a day to day basis. Because after a few years, what will happen is people will pay you and hire you for your work experience, for your knowledge, for your superlative skills, and not based on what university you passed out or how much you scored. So it becomes individual responsibility. It is not even parents' responsibility beyond this because parents are enabling you to get into a good college. But afterwards, it becomes your responsibility to build that technical competence and build that depth. So choose a place for graduation where you are likely to meet people who are better than you. During these challenging times, I think it's important for you to continue to be on the learning curve, develop good learning habits, a hobby of interest, which will help your career. And to an extent possible, get off the social media as much as possible. Uninstall social apps that is not helping you. You have to use these platforms the right way if you want to get benefited. Because if you need to actually, you can actually get strongly benefited with social platforms, but you need to watch out if it is becoming a distraction or it is helping you achieve your goals. So with this, I wish you all the very best. And once again, thanks to everyone for having me a part of this event. Thank you. Nandri.
மிக்க நன்றி திரு ஸ்ரீனிவாஸ் பிரசாத் அவர்களே. நீங்க வெறும்ன வந்து ஒரு கெரியர் கைடன்ஸ் மட்டும் இல்லாம ரொம்ப அக்கறையோட ஒவ்வொரு இளைஞர்கள் மேல வந்து யூ டுக் ரெஸ்பான்சிபிலிட்டி அண்ட் யூ கேவ் அஸ் அ வெரி சின்சியர் guidance regarding how they should carry out their life too. ஏன்னா நீங்க சொன்ன மாதிரி எப்படி இன்டர்நெட்டோட யூசேஜ்ல எவ்வளவு வந்து அதுலயும் வந்து சென்சிபிலிட்டியோட அதை வந்து பயன்படுத்தணுன்றதுல ரொம்ப முக்கியமான ஒரு சஜஷனா நாங்க கண்டிப்பா நம்மளுடைய பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ்க்கு அதை கொண்டு போய் சேர்க்கிறோம். அதே மாதிரி நீங்க வந்து ஒரு டம்ப் டிவைஸை கூட வந்து ஸ்மார்ட் டிவைஸா மாத்துறது இன்டர்நெட் ஆஃப் திங்ஸ்ன்னு சொல்லும் போது நம்ம பயன்படுத்தக்கூடிய அன்றாட வாழ்க்கையில இருக்கக்கூடிய, ஆமா உண்மையில சொன்ன மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் ஒரு 10 வருஷத்துக்கு முன்னாடி வாட்ச் வந்து வெறும் டைம் பார்க்கறதுக்கு மட்டும்தான் நினைச்சிட்டு இருக்கோம். ஆனா இன்னைக்கு ஒரு வாட்ச்ன்றது எவ்வளவு ஸ்மார்ட்டா இட் கேன் எவ்வளவு ஸ்டெப்ஸ் டே அண்ட் வாக்கிங்கிறது கூட அது கவுண்ட் பண்ணுது. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி வெவ்வேறு விஷயத்த மாற்ற முடியும். யூ ஹவ் இன்ஸ்டிகேட்டட் தட் தாட் ஸோ தட் அவர் பார்ட்டிசிபென்ட்ஸ் கேன் ஸ்டார்ட் திங்கிங் அபவுட் என்ன மாற்ற முடியும், என்ன நம்ம சுற்றி இருக்கக்கூடிய எவ்வளவு விஷயத்த வந்து சாதாரணமா இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பொருளை ஸ்மார்ட்டா மாத்துறதுக்கு நான் என்ன செய்ய முடியும் அப்படின்றத நோக்கி நீங்க அவங்களை நகர்த்தி இருக்கீங்க. மிக்க நன்றி சார்.